All right, so we are ready recording. So hi Linda, how are you today?
Oh, hi, Doug. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Um, so I guess what brings you in? What are we doing today?
Well, I know we were going to do this in person in your office, but yeah, it's kind of embarrassing to talk about. But I seem to have a little bit of problem with shopping, if that makes sense.
Can you go into some detail about that?
Yeah, well, I've always enjoyed shopping. And then when COVID hit, I started doing probably a lot more of it than I should have, because it was easy and I couldn't get out for a while. And I I think it's just gotten a little bit out of hand. I seem to buy something, at least something, every single day.
So how long has this been going on? You said COVID was kind of a trigger for it, but how long had it been going on before that?
Oh, probably 4 or 5 years. But I wasn't buying something every single day. But I do like to go out shopping, and um, I'm I find I'm buying stuff that maybe I don't really need, and it's just something to do, if that makes sense. But, I'll go through my closet and I'll see that I've bought the same thing maybe twice. And I've got stuff that I bought, but I've never even used. And it's starting to be a problem because it's a lot of money. And the reason I'm not there with you today is I don't have the money right now to get my car out of the shop because I kind of maxed out my credit cards.
I see. So what I'm hearing now is that there's been a shopping issue going on for the last few years that COVID sort of kicked it into overdrive and now it is causing some financial difficulties. Is that about right?
That's exactly right. Plus, it's starting to cause other difficulties too, because I kind of hid it from my family that I was spending all this money. I mean, they knew that there were packages being delivered, but the stuff that I physically bought, I kind of hid. So, it's just getting to be, it's an issue, I think. And I th wanted to talk to you to see if you have any advice on maybe getting things a little bit better under control.
Sure, we can talk about some things. Um, One of the other things that I'd like to dive into is about how much have you been spending?
A lot. Uh, it's about,
Can you be more specific?
yeah, it's a little embarrassing, like I said, but um, I had a credit card that had a $10,000 limit, and that one's been maxed out. Um, so I actually didn't stop at that point. I had another credit card that I had for emergencies, and I had never activated it. So I activated it and kept shopping.
Okay, okay. One of the key things that I always like to dive into is how is this making you feel?
Uh, Kind of ashamed. I didn't realize it was getting that far out of control. But when you've got about $15,000 worth of debt, I got to do something about it.
Sure. So it sounds like there's the financial piece, but then the spending is also bringing up feelings of shame and guilt, um, and making it difficult to just get by on the day-to-day things. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, because now I find that I'm skimping on other things that, the family could use and could need, uh, because I'm spending too much money on foolish things. Really, it's foolish.
So is this something that you're ready to address? Is this something that is still, manageable, or where are you at with the whole thing?
With this much credit card debt, I don't think I'd call it manageable.
Did you buy
So
anything? Did you buy anything today?
no, because I put my computer in the other room until now so that I wasn't tempted to go and do some shopping. I'm trying, but I'm just not quite there yet. I did buy yesterday though.
Okay. Okay.
And I mean,
Um,
sometimes these aren't big things. Sometimes
sure.
it's little things, but it makes me happy when I buy stuff.
So one of the disconnects here is that it makes you happy when you buy stuff, but then it also makes you unhappy when you buy stuff.
That's exactly right. So it's fun when you do it, and then it's like, why did I do that? Um, and I've tried online shopping is just so easy. And I've tried not hitting buy now, but I always hit buy now. So
That can be difficult. I remember I had a client previously who had some of the same things, and actually at during COVID myself, um, I was going through the same thing because there was nothing else to do. I was looking for some of these happy brain chemicals to be released, and personally, I was buying things, and then I bought two crock pots, and I was helping cook some things for some of my elderly neighbors. So. I kind of understand where you're coming from. Um, it's just when it starts to take a toll on your emotional well-being and your day-to-day functioning is when maybe it's becoming an issue. So
I think it's an issue.
I had emailed you something that looks like this, if you remember, the readiness.
Right, I have that right here. Right.
Yeah. So where currently do you see yourself as being ready to make this change? How important do you think this change is to make?
Well, I know it's important because it's just going to spiral out of control if I don't do something. So I would say I know it's a problem. So maybe a three, maybe closer to a four. Um, yeah, I know I'm not a zero or a one because I know it's an issue.
Well, there is something called the stages of change. And so there's this pre-contemplation stage where people don't think there's an issue. And then there's the contemplation stage where someone looks at their behavior and goes, well, maybe something needs to happen. And then after that contemplation stage, we come up with a planning stage, which is sort of where you and I are at. And I've got a homework assignment that I might give to you. And then after
Mhm.
that, we look at making an action stage, and then we start putting that into practice. And then there's a maintenance stage that comes after that. So we'll look at this, but also on that same readiness scale, how confident do you think you are that you can make this change?
I think I have to make the change, and I think I know that. Um, because otherwise, you know, it's like I said, it's just a spiral that's going to just, it's not going to be good.
So would you put that somewhere in that 3 to 4 range or somewhere higher?
I know this isn't going to be easy, so maybe a 4 to 5.
Okay.
That's,
Okay. And that's okay if that's where you're at. And
yeah,
you know,
I'm kind of a little bit more than halfway, I would guess,
okay.
because I think we can do this. I
Yeah.
think I can do it, but I'm going to need your help with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm
And I
more
should
than
have brought
happy.
this up to you before because I know this has been a problem, but now it's really bothering me.
Sure. And I'm more than happy to listen and we can talk about this during this session. And if we need to have others, we can do that as well. So one of the things, and I think I also sent you this mind map, kind of looks like a brainstorm, if you will. You have that? Did you get
Yes,
that
I have
email?
that. Mhm.
Great, great. So one of the things that we can do um, is try to come up with a plan, some things that maybe you think that you can do that are realistic to maybe curb this or to start minimizing or to eliminate this needless spending altogether. So what I'm going to have you do between now and our next session is take a look at this and come up with maybe four ideas. So the goal here is going to be to reduce the unnecessary spending. And then we'll come up with some ideas. I'd like for you to do that between now and our next session. And then there are pros and cons that go along with that. If you look at idea two and idea four, there are some pros and cons that go with that. And then on the offshoot of idea two, there is also some steps that you can take to implement this plan. But between now and then, I would really like for you to do your best not to do any unnecessary spending. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be hard. But before you hit that buy now button, really think about what you're buying. Is it important? Is it helping? Is it really doing anything other than releasing those little happy brain chemicals? And how are you going to feel after you click that button? And how are you going to feel after you get the thing in the mail?
Think I'll feel pretty good when I buy things, but once I know I bought it, I'll probably have that, you know, it's it's embarrassing, kind of makes me feel ashamed. And then when the item gets here, um, I guess I could start returning stuff, but once it's here, I kind of like having it. So I think working on not buying it right now might be good.
And something else that kind of comes to mind is you said you've got a closet full of stuff. And so maybe instead of buying, maybe going in there and reorganizing, maybe going in there and finding some things that maybe you can give away because they always say it feels better to give than receive. So maybe finding a way to donate some things that are unused, or maybe you said you have doubles of things. Maybe trying to find a way to give away those things so that you can get that same pleasurable experience, but maybe from giving rather than receiving.
That's something I hadn't really thought about, but it's the season of giving coming up. So yeah, I think that might be really helpful.
Good. So just to sort of review and summarize some things, you've got this shopping issue going on. It's starting to affect you financially, and it's starting to affect you emotionally with feelings of guilt and embarrassment and shame. And you just don't want to feel like that anymore, and you think it's time for a change. Is that about what we've covered today?
That's exactly what I need.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, you know that I'm always available for any other sessions if you need them, but I would really like to see you work on that homework assignment. And maybe the next time we meet, those threes, fours, and fives on the readiness scale will be maybe six, sevens, and eights after we come up with a plan. How's that sound?
That sounds good. I'm just trying to wrap my arms around what some of these ideas might be that I could come up with. Um, I've done a little bit of research and I've read some articles about trying to pare down your shopping. And what do you think about either cutting up credit cards or doing something with them, but I might need them for an emergency?
Well, one thing that might not be so drastic as cutting them up. I know you and your husband have talked about, other things before. Maybe having him hold the cards. That way, if there is an emergency, you guys can discuss it before, just pulling the card out. Um, I do like the idea of freezing the credit card because that's sort of a visual deterrent. So you might want to try that with one of your cards as well.
Okay. Because if I really needed it, I could thaw it out. So
Yeah, you could run it under some hot water or hit it with a hair dryer, but that visual deterrent every time you open the freezer, it's right there staring you in the face, and it's sort of a reminder of what you're trying to do.
okay. Well, thanks for setting me on the right track with some of the ideas because that was a little foreign to me. So, okay, I'll work on my homework definitely.
Yeah, and again, talk with your husband. Maybe you guys can come up with a plan for not spending so much, and maybe we can start
Oh,
talking
he's not
about
the
some.
spender. I'm the spender.
And maybe next time we can talk about some ways to maybe start digging out of some of this financial debt that you're finding yourself in.
Okay. You know what? I feel much better just talking to you about this.
Well, I'm glad that we could talk, and I'm glad that you feel comfortable enough talking with me about some of these difficult things. And I'll do my best to help you in every way that I can.
Okay. Thanks, Doug. I really appreciate it, and I'll do my homework.
Sounds good. We'll see you next week in our next session.
Okay. Thanks again, Doug.
You're welcome. Bye-bye, Linda.
Bye.